So there's this guy named Alex. I'm just going to use his first name in ministry. I was involved in the ministry for some years called SOS. It's in San Francisco. It's a San Francisco based, it's been there for like 40 years, over 40 years. And it started by the founder, Larry. This is all public information. It's a public ministry. So you guys can always, search it on your own. But I I started off in the ministry and I served there for just like some time, probably a year and a half or a year before Alex came in. When he came in, I thought all these prophecies that different Christians have been prophesizing to me before in churches and so what, they were always saying like, "Oh, I see your husband," and spiritually prophesizing things, like, or supposedly they see that I'm getting married or they see my husband coming to me and that kind of thing. So when I met him in the ministry, I'm like, oh, this must be, the God of the Christians, the God of the Bible. Like I, I don't know him, but when I saw him, I was like infatuated because he was very handsome, more so on the physical, although I didn't know him spiritually or personality wise. So he's half black, half Filipino. Come to find out a little bit later. So when he comes in, I'm like, oh, it's nice because it's a little bit encouraging. It's a refresher. It's youthful. The ministry does have, some. It really didn't actually have people around my age mate. I was like early 30s at that time. So a lot of the men and the servants or the people who were helping up, setting up, the equipment and all that, they're all like older, much older, and a lot of them are like Caucasian, which is not bad. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but the founder is Caucasian. But it's like it's not really my age group. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want people around your age mates. So I did befriend an older lady who I still keep in touch today. Her name is Kathy. She's also, blonde, white hair, so definitely I'm not racist. And so um, when I met him, like about a year into, or at least 7 months serving this ministry, Alex came into the picture. He's brand new into the ministry. You could tell he's learning from the guys, learning from everyone. And he's really handsome. He's just a handsome man. He got the good genes, whatever you want to call it. His mom is the one that's Filipino, and he has a straight relationship with his dad. I don't know where his dad is. I come to find that out later, much later in the ministry, that he has daddy issues or whatever. So, as time goes on, my friend Kathy, the one I told you who I befriended and still keep in touch with, I wouldn't consider her the best friend. She's still like a Christian, and she was a Christian before I came into the ministry. And she's in her 70s, y'all. So she's been in the game for a while. Um, she would start telling me, because they all lived in a ministry house, and Alex joined that ministry house for the sake of the gospel, for the sake of, um, the work of this ministry called SOS. They live in a house in Oakland, and they all share, have like their rooms or whatever. And Kathy would tell me some stories, started to tell me some stories of how he doesn't listen, or he's very condescending to women. And he just believes like he takes like the Bible to kind of a very strict religious where, when you're a woman, you need to submit to the man type of thing. And I always construed that as like, yeah, if you're married to someone, but it doesn't really specify like you should always have to submit to a man who talks, over you when you're not married. Like, do you have to submit to him like a wife should if you're not married? That's a question that always kind of loomed in the air for me. I get it if you're married because the Bible's very clear on that, and that's tradition anyway. You know what I mean? So, as time goes on, I feel like I don't want to say crush because I'm not going to sit here and embarrass myself or embarrass the ministry but I felt like a kind of a tug with him. And there was a time I went out to ministry um, and he was like kind of flirting. He was flirting, and I probably did a little bit too. But our eyes, at least I know for myself, I was just focused on, the gospel, focused on the ministry, focused on this and that. So, what's it called? So that happens, and then eventually I moved to Southern California. I had been desiring to go back to Southern California. I was there anyway before going back to the Bay Area. And I just wanted to move to the Southern California. So I did that just a few months prior to the time COVID hit. So I moved back to Southern California, and I really had like a strong tug towards this man, but he wasn't like gonna take over my mind or anything, and he didn't. But I felt like at that time, spiritually, I was inclined to go back to I would pray, and I ended up moving back to the Bay Area after COVID hit. Once COVID hit, I moved back to the Bay Area, and I rejoined obviously the ministry because I was doing it before. Um, and Alex was very, very flirtatious. I just want to say that um, I just felt like a stronger tug. I was like, maybe this could be my husband. And I just, whatever. Let's just see as time goes. So we start hanging out a little bit in a setting, not ever like just one by one. There's only one time where I was just dropping him back to the SOS house, the ministry house, and it was just me and him, but nothing happened. Just like talk, like whatever, like you would with a friend or whatever. But I never felt like, I don't know if I ever felt like me and him were really friends. I felt like it was more like a curiosity type of thing. So time goes on, and oh my gosh, his true colors start coming out, and I start to see what my friend Kathy is saying about him. Like the things that she would complain about, like just little things in the house that he wouldn't clean up or something like that and stuff like that. Just very prideful, you know. And what's it called? I started to realize as I gained access to like another ministry that I joined. I regret to this day joining it, but it was a ministry with people who were around my age mates who were not really mature. They weren't mature in the faith, and they definitely weren't mature as people. And they thought they could just claim Christianity and say any Bible thing and then themselves not hold themselves accountable or be held accountable themselves. So I met this ministry that he's part of because he has friends in the ministry. It's called Love SF. And I don't even know if it's still around, but it's corrupt. I wouldn't even tell anyone to join it. I wouldn't tell my younger self to join it. So I joined it, and oh my goodness, I didn't realize the jealousy that looms with certain people, individuals who are also in their early 30s. That I guess maybe because they've been in the ministry a little bit longer than I was when I met them, that they were really, really vicious, like animals. Um, I met this guy particular who's friends with Alex, named Nick. I didn't have any crush on him or anything. I'm not, yuck, no. But the thing is, when I came in there, I was doing all this prophecy because of COVID. A lot of people were prophesizing and moving in the spirit and the gifts of the spirit, as they say or call it. And he was jealous and hateful towards me. I didn't see it in the beginning, but I kind of would see sometimes his facial expressions towards me. And boy, is he prideful. And I realized if Alex hangs himself around these type of people, he must be like them. You are who you hang around. Okay, so it's almost like that saying, you are who you eat. So Alex, eventually, I start hanging out with them and giving them like carpool rides whenever we want to go worship with them after the outreach. And time goes on, and I see Alex, he has also flirtatious eyes for other women. So I start seeing him like, I don't think so. Like maybe this is not the person I'm supposed to marry or whatever. And he becomes so prideful, like in the spirit, you could see things, you could see sometimes the thoughts of people, you could sometimes call them out on it. And when you do, they get angry because they know it's true. And sometimes you could see their intentions towards you. And one time I saw Alex like he wanted to be my God and control my destination. This is how bewitched he is as a person. And he's sitting here running around talking about he's filled with the Holy Ghost and preaching to other people, and his intent and his heart towards me. And maybe he does it with other Christians too, I don't know. But I'm speaking about my own experience with him. The need for him to control. So he wanted himself to succeed. He wanted himself to be on top of the world in the ministry or in life, and for God to use him in most powerful ways. But he started to have some type of attitude towards me because I didn't always submit and cater and kiss his butt. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is just a snippet, y'all. So when people prophesize that, you're going to have a husband, just trust the universe to give it to you. I mean, God may, if he cares. I don't think he really cares, to tell you the truth, about giving you the right soulmate and stuff. I don't think he cares. It doesn't even talk about that in the Bible, like that, God sat there and cared who marries who. But certain people, like, Abraham and Sarah were assigned to each other. But, I haven't seen him do that to me or really much anyone else in ministry. So, time goes on, and I start to get a different perspective with Alex, and I start to see the things that my friend Kathy would complain about him always feeling he needs to dominate. And it's like, I'm not married to you, dude. I never even touched you or nothing, and I thank God. And so one time, after I started to fade out of that ministry, I was still trying to force myself to serve in it. But one time I just got held back. It's like that season is over. But one time I went to go pick up like some Bible tracts or do something at the SOS house, because they have like a whole inventory of Bible tracts. And Alex was there. I don't know if he saw me, but I was parked on the street, and he escorted another lady. It was at nighttime. He escorted another lady, a younger lady, who was Caucasian looking, out of her car, and he walked with her as if like they were gonna have a date night. And I'm like, thank God I saw these signs early. Because sometimes you can start forming maybe like a small little crush or a small little thing. And that person is probably, they may lead you on. They may think that, like they may show you signs like they're flirting with you. But don't take it too seriously. Men can be just as fickle as women. But the thing is, women were so emotional. That's the sad part. That's the way I guess God created us, if you say. That we can take things, too hard, a little bit too much. But thank God I overcame this man. As handsome as he is, I think he takes advantage of his looks. I think his looks get him what he wants. And I think he's one of those people, just because even being in ministry and all, where he's not even held accountable by his co-mates with the word. Just because his looks, you know what I mean? Like his looks, I feel like there's some people in the world, they do that. They take advantage, or they're born with these like assigned good looks or whatever, and it gets them a lot of favors with people. So, but when they're doing wrong and when their intent is ill, they're never called out on it. And now he's in the Bible, right? So there's a higher accountability. So hopefully that God of the Bible will hold him accountable, since no one else seems to really do, except for my friend Kathy. My friend Kathy would hold him accountable. But remember, Alex believes that the woman should shut up and be silent when it comes to matters of correction. Anyway, that's my experience with one of these type of Christians. They're not full of the love of God. They think they are. They'll talk about how they'll look at you and say that you're prideful, when them themselves are the most prideful. They don't take accountability for their actions, and they don't really care to change. They just want to condemn you to hell. But then themselves think that they're these exceptional sinners. They can lust all they want. He admits that he has a lust problem, but then they think you should be condemned to hell over them. It's absolutely true hypocrisy. I'm going to sign out, y'all. Thank you.